Greetings, LEGO fans! Well, it's that time of year again, and my LEGO Winter Village is already coming together. It's hard to believe that it's already been a year since I made my first ever Winter Village. That project was a blast and a great learning experience. This year, however, I knew I really wanted to up the ante with more elaborate builds, a stronger foundation, and a larger footprint. I managed to cover last year's Winter Village in one video, but this one is gonna take a few. So gather up your holiday cheer and let's dive into part 1. My biggest regret from last year was not building the village on Mills plates. If you don't know what those are, they're just base plates with a layer of brick and plate on top and Technic connections on the sides. This makes them incredibly sturdy and makes moving large elements so much easier. It also allows you to hide wires for lighting and even build features below ground level if you want. Admittedly, they're pretty part-intensive and time-consuming to build, but I literally wouldn't have been able to do a lot of what I've already done without the strong foundation that these provide. From the moment I picked up the Disney train and station set this past spring, I've been enamored with the idea of building out the iconic hillside flower bed and the queue areas on either side of the main station. When thinking of a theme for this year's Winter Village, this idea felt like a perfect fit as both a grand centerpiece and a thematic focal point for the whole project. So, I very loosely based the design of the whole village on Disneyland's entry portal and town square at the head of Main Street. I'm not aiming for an exact recreation here, as I like to think that this particular Disney park is one that occurs in the LEGO world, opening the door for LEGO's original characters and themes to make appearances alongside the expected Disney ones. It's even got me thinking of bigger things down the road, like building a whole park that mixes classic Disney magic with some of my favorite retro LEGO themes. Adventurer's Land, anyone? But I'm getting way ahead of myself. The first course of action was to build out the sides of the train station. Luckily, Rebrickable.com hosts a really accurate and free design that you can download. It was honestly a little tricky knowing which pieces to order for it though, as it treats the existing set and the expansion as one big build. But they did include a PDF that singles out the pieces that you need if you just want to build the sides. None of the files they provided were compatible with Bricklink or Lego.com's upload features, so I had to add all the elements by hand, which was kind of a pain. Since Lego.com's standard service is currently on pause, I turned to Bricklink to source these pieces. After some part substitutions and even omissions to keep the cost down, I got extremely lucky to get all of the pieces between just 3 sellers. Even then, it cost me a combined total of $197.43 with shipping and taxes factored in, so not cheap by any stretch of the imagination. Once the pieces arrived, following the instructions on Stud.io was a bit of a learning curve, but easy enough with a bit of trial and error. I was impressed with how well this expansion matches the original set, and its accuracy to the real-life station. It does leave some things to be desired from a stability perspective, but those are things I can easily tweak on my own when I get the time. I actually took some inspiration from a build I saw at Brick Slopes this year and built this whole station up on some standard road plates, as they do an efficient job of elevating the platform without having to use too many pieces. Once the expanded station was completed, it was time to raise it up to its hilltop level. I was the most intimidated by this because, frankly, this thing is huge, and I was so worried about giving it the proper support, especially with a train running on top. I went to just about every local bricks and minifig store and snatched up all the wall panels that I could, and laid them out in where I thought they would offer the most crucial support. Then came the moment of truth. Luckily, it went off without any major disasters, but I did need to add a bunch more supports underneath until it felt nice and sturdy. For the hillside flower bed, I took another nod of inspiration from that same Brick Slopes build and used 4 16x16 plates to make up the majority of it, leaving it hollow on the inside. I then brick built the slopes to close off the sides. I'm so happy I saw this technique because I was mentally preparing to fully brick build the entire thing with slopes, which would have cost so much more in time and parts to accomplish. The railing around the flower bed in real life is one continuous curve, which I've seen attempted in Lego form in a bunch of different ways, but I just added some curved elements to the corners and called it a day. Heck, it looks good to me. The tunnels on either side that lead into the town square are topped by 1 by 12 by 3 arch pieces, which seemed like they would work perfectly in my head, but actually look a little small for the scale of the build. I may try to widen them a bit with 1 by 5 by 4 half arches on either end, but we'll see if I have the time or even the desire to switch those out by the end. And with a little bit of extra embellishment, the train station and hillside are complete. I'm really thrilled with how this turned out, and it's a showstopper as the first impression for this winter village. The next big landmark, or sea mark, was the beloved Mark Twain River steamboat. The second I saw the LEGO Ideas steamboat released, I knew I wanted to convert it into the Mark Twain, and I wasn't alone, as plenty of others have taken on the task. For me, it basically came down to swapping out the tan and dark tan elements for white as I was building it. This took a couple trips to the bricks and minifigs bulk pile, but I eventually got what I needed. These simple color swaps really do sell the look, and I took the extra step of creating a Mark Twain title sticker to go on the back, just to seal the deal. Once populated with Disney characters, it's unmistakable. And since this is intended to be a Disney park in the LEGO world, plenty of iconic LEGO heroes are also featured in my Phantasmic finale. I tried a little decoration swapping to enhance the Christmas vibe, but it ended up looking way too garish in my opinion, so I just kept it clean. And now the Mark Twain is ready to set sail in this year's Winter Village. Let's take a look at all the progress so far. Of course, none of this is finalized yet, but I thought it'd be fun to just walk through the things that I have built and the things that are yet to be built. So, of course, you've got the main train station here with the hillside underneath, the gingerbread AT-AT with gingerbread Darth Vader underneath there. This set is actually kind of a tough one to get, and I had fun with my 6-year-old putting this one together. I'll eventually be lighting this one up along with the rest of the village. And here we have the post office truck. This may not be the final place that it ends up, but I thought it looked charming right there. In the flower bed, I decided to keep things simple, making the Mickey kind of abstract there. I thought about putting a face on him, but the parts that I'd need for that are a little more specialized, and I kind of just like the abstract version of him right there. But on the sides, we have these snowflake-encrusted white leaves, and of course the 2 trees on the side, which I just kind of threw together improvisationally, and I think they look pretty nice. Of course, the train station itself, and it's got a couple of little Christmas trees on the top, as well as a strand of Christmas lights. I may try and put a wreath or some bells or something on there to further that holiday spirit, but we'll see what comes. Over here on the side is the perfect place, I thought, for the little ice skating pond that came with the Alpine Lodge set from a couple years ago. And then once you go through the tunnel, you'll be in the park proper, which is the entire area I haven't completed yet. I haven't even built the Mills plates quite yet to cover this whole back row. I still need to build 4 more of those to fill out the whole back. I've got the parts ordered for those and they're on the way. But as soon as you're through the tunnel, in true Disney fashion, you are greeted by one of the market stalls here, and this is just the Winter Village market stall set that I believe was a GWP. Luckily, I had a couple of local sellers who were selling these off for good prices, so I got 2 so that you could be greeted by one no matter which entryway you go through. Now, over here on the back is a giant staircase that leads up to the train platform. Of course, it would be ideal to somehow finish out the back of this set, but that's a project perhaps for another year. But to kind of cover up some of the more messy panel work that's holding up this whole train station, I decided to put the modules from the Ministry of Magic set here to cover that up. I always thought that these looked kind of Christmassy anyway with their red and green and gold color scheme, so this might just be something that I put in my Winter Village every year. Then, of course, here is the Christmas tree that'll be right in the center of the plaza. And then I hope to run the trolley somewhere along here, and then it'll just kind of stop at the head of Main Street. It might be fun in the future to go all the way down Main Street, but of course I'd have to get a bigger building space to do that. In my next video, I plan to cover all of the things that I put inside of the town square and the completion of the train line, which I intend to go all the way around the back and then all the way back here. So I'm going to actually have to flip the orientation of all this so that the table is wide enough. There's even been talk of putting this up on the kitchen table. My wife has said that that would be okay, so that might actually be where it ends up for the holiday season. And now we head over to the Mark Twain. Now, I'm not exactly sure in the layout where it's gonna end up being. I picked up a bunch of small 1x1 trans blue pieces that could serve as water, so there might be an expansion that kind of puts this to the side of everything. But I'll kind of wait to see how everything else in the town square shakes out to see where this would fit most appropriately. But on here, I just love the mix of Disney and classic yellow characters. So of course, on the top, we've got the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey and Minnie, Maleficent, Elsa, and Peter Pan, along with Edna, Goofy, Gale Storm, Darth Vader, Luke, Hades, the Chief from Ice Planet, either Huey, Dewey, or Louie, I'm not sure which cousin that is. Got Minnie and the Genie from Aladdin, standing next to Johnny Thunder, a classic spaceman, the Infomaniac, Donald and Daisy Duck, Jafar, Baron Von Baron, of course, and then Timmy underneath, a Forestman, a Blacktron, of course, Pharaoh Hotep, Sparks from Rock Raiders. Then on the bottom row, we've got an Aquanaut, Captain Redbeard, Charles Lightning, Sheriff Wyatt, and Achu, and then a Lion Knight and the director from the Studios line. Down here on the other side, we have the Explorians Chief, Frozone, Chip, Buzz Lightyear, Huey, Dewey, or Louie again, the alien toy from Toy Story, Dewey Cheatham, of course, Scrooge McDuck, and another instance of Minnie Mouse, which I actually don't think they would allow in Disneyland, but I had an extra one, so might as well put her there. So quite the eclectic mix of characters on here, but the Phantasmic show should be fantastic. Of course, this is all still a work in progress, and in coming videos, I'll show you the process of completing the town square, finishing the elevated train loop, and lighting this whole village up. I'm so excited for what's to come, and thrilled to have you guys along for the journey. If you're watching and haven't subscribed yet, do me a favor and click that button. I'm trying to reach 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I could really use your help to meet that goal. Thank you also to the members of the Brick Guild for their continued support. And until next time, keep building.